Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 12 of my Spaceblock series for Factorio. I'm Icon, and today, first, we're going to talk about all the wonderful expansions that have happened due to the addition of space matter into my factory, and then we're going to set over to new adventures. So, a couple of things have happened ever since we have access to these wonderful space matter furnaces. I started expanding. The first thing I did was expanding my power grid. We now have a total amount of 60 boilers and 120 steam engines powering the factory as it is right now. We do therefore have access to a total amount of 108 megawatt. Judging from what we see here, there's a lot of extra energy going on. There's nothing too special, which I did here. Just the same old setup we had before. That's 67 assemblers attached to each of those batteries. So, nothing too special. After all these wonderful things have been plugged in, I felt finally the need to get over and create myself a mall. So we now finally have automated access to a lot of things. First off, this is a little bit of a smeltering zone. We're going to talk about that in a minute because smeltering will be something we need to be doing today as well. And yeah, here we have finally the basics: belts, undergrounds, splitters, elbow pipes, laboratories, even nanobots, and over here is the inserter factory, and all manner of different shenanigans which we might need in our future endeavor. I'm really happy to be there now because this means we're finally free from the burdens of crafting so many things. So I even set up a little semi-automatic array for water fill. The problem here is that this array needs landfill to process it into water fill, and I had no interest in producing my landfill down here, so I figured I'll just toss in a few units of landfill whenever I need some water fill. It is not that necessary. So the smeltering batteries over here, well, here we can see different setups that I have experimented with. The gist of it is quite simple. One space matter furnace does produce roughly exactly enough to feed one of these smelters. So if we check out the ratio between these, we see that there is a 0.017 overproduction on these space matter furnaces, which means we can place them parallel to each other. But there has been a little problem with the input, and we're going to iterate all these things later down the road. But what matters now is that you see here this crazy little loop going around here. I'll try to avoid that in the future. We did modernize our systems in this way, minimizing the size of the loop, but these things, well, I'm going to explain that on an example because it's always easier to explain things when you have a non-finished array. Okay, so what's the next goal? It's pretty simple. We need science. We need real science, because for now we're sitting on this minuscule laboratory array and it's really not much. So science-wise, we can now go for red, green, and blue. I'll kind of like skip the military science for now because most technologies hidden behind military science are totally not interesting for me right now. The technologies behind the blue science are way more interesting, and advanced oil processing, that's not a coincidence that I go there, will be a keystone of producing blue science packs, because blue science packs need advanced electronic circuits, or advanced circuits, and advanced circuits need plastic. Plastic needs petroleum gas, and it's a way easier to produce petroleum gas if you're not sitting on basic oil processing. The advanced oil processing recipes yield way more petroleum gas out of the same amount of oil, but I'm not sure how I will handle that. What I'm sure about is that we're going to set up a laboratory with 60 science per minute because several reasons. My idea is quite simple. If I have an array that works out with 60 signs per minute, I can just duplicate that at the end. If I want to have more signs per minute, I can't just duplicate the arrays I got. And the other thing is the Spaceblock was so far a pretty grindy and idle game-like experience, so I don't mind if the science production is a tad bit slow. Also, resource production is a real pain in this mod pack, so several reasons for me to go for just an output of 1 science unit per second. Alrighty, let's go. So this also leads to a rather small array in general. And you see here, the copper plates we need are pretty easily constructed, but there's really some nasty stuff in the details. So if you check this out, we'll need now a total amount of 11 space matter furnaces and 11 regular furnaces to get the ball rolling here. And this is already, well, it sums up. It will be easy with the red science packs, but if we go for the other colors, the resource drain in the background will get higher and higher. And since I have decided not to go for a main bus solution, I want to create the resources on site, if you want to say so. I don't feel like going for too large things in the beginning, so we're going to need that. And we're going to need that. So as you see here, it's also adding up the total need of metals here. If we put it in the right order, that is. Yeah, okay, now it should work. Let's put this up here to make things more easily visible. And yeah, you see, the red signs look pretty harmless still. And this is now already at 22 furnaces. That's a lot more. Getting more and more problematic. And if we now start up with the blue signs packs here, things will be a lot more complicated. First off, we'll need a lot more assemblers there. What? And we'll also need a lot more other materials. But there's one thing I'm noticing, the amount of, well, okay, wait a sec, that's a wrong assumption. You're going to need this amount of petrol gas. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be a lot more. Okay, so we can duplicate oil here with the space matter refinery or with the oil refinery. I'm pretty sure that the space matter refinery has its advantages. I haven't checked out the deets yet, but we're going to do this like that for now. So, okay, that's just the oil, and now is this a correct amount? Yeah, it is. Okay, wonderful. So now we want to check out the necessary copper for that. So quite a lot. And wait a sec, we'll need more of the copper than that. To need all that. Oh my god, this is going to be... I'll do that. I'll sort that out off camera, because right now we're creating a longer and longer monstrosity, which gets more and more complicated. What does matter here is that 1 science per minute, 60 science per minute, will be absolutely enough to keep me on... to keep me busy for quite some time. And the other big question now will be where the heck will we build that? I mean, I do have by now a pretty decent amount of land massed up, as you can see here. I also started building pathways to to get the land a little bit more under control. But overall, considering what I just designed, the laboratory and science area will be huge, because the production of the resources will always take a lot of land. I mean, this would be a reason which speaks for going for a main bus solution and such, but I wanted for once do a little bit of a different design than I usually go for. And since resources can be that easily made on site in the space block, I really want to try that out. A little bit of a different factory design every now and then is good for your brain. And when you rail up all your productions always on main buses, it's always the same, and I don't like that too much. Okay, so I'm armed with a couple of thousand units of landfill to get my ideas done. And considering that we have all that molly stuff over here and the power production over here, I felt like one of the best ideas I could go for would be just expanding downwards from here and just start building the laboratory array here. Something like that, going all the way down here. We can expand that later if we need to, but for now I think this is going to be exactly the playground that I want to have for the science creation. Of course, I'm pretty sure that I will have my troubles with that in the end. I always underestimate the size of the total science production arrays, and then the laboratories are not on the spots where I want to have them. All manner of different things keep happening there, but, well, I'm pretty sure you guys might know the pain I'm talking about. Okay, but this will be for now enough. We're going to start really, really harmless today, okay? We're just going to start out with the red and the green science, and then we'll see how much my brain hurts after having these things connected up. I mean, there is one really, really good thing. We don't need to handcraft stuff as excessively anymore. I mean, I can't even pick up 300 inserters at once. We're gonna get assembling machines and all the jazz we need quite easily. It ain't complete yet. There's still a lot of things that I need to do. I have forgotten to bring a automatic production of power poles, and there's also no furnace auto production. So there are still a couple of things where I need to finish off, but I'm really happy with what has happened here, because this evolution basically has enabled me to plan out the future of my factory way, way better. It did take quite long in the Spaceblock mod, though. That's one thing that I want to say here. So let's grab up another stockpile of landfill, and then we're going to start building. Planning phase was pretty long in this episode, I know, but there was a lot of stuff that has happened between this and the last episode as well. So, but I figured that bringing up the mall area was not too interesting to make a video out of that, because at the end of the day, it's just plugging up stuff you need. Please tell me if you are more interested in these things than I think you are, and then we're going to see what we can do about that. Okay, so this is more of a playground now. Okay, we're going to need the assembling machines right at the end of this whole park. So for now, let's try to pipe out the finished science pack always somewhere up here, basically. So this, make sure that the production will always happen down there to somehow sort things, you know? Okay, we get to place down 7 of these bad boys. Okay. Now, we get to feed them with copper plates directly and iron wheels. That's a very, very simple thing to do. So, as you see here, we're going to need 4 coal assemblers. So, let's put them down here, because they will be basically the lifeblood of our furnacing array here. So, we might as well already connect them up. As usual, input and output. Output first, input later. And as I like to do with Spaceblock in general, I am already connecting this little array up with power so that it can produce its material right away. Oops, that's nothing I want to see. Because Spaceblock arrays, they need a while to get their production rolling. Okay, that's going to be the coal we need. Now, we need 7 furnaces for the smelting of the iron and 7 smelters for the production of the iron itself. So we're going to produce that stuff over here. Let's do this there. Maybe not too far away into that direction. Yeah, I'll go here. So we're going to put them real close to each other because we got the good power poles already. So now the thing here is we're going to have a little bit of a loop here and a little bit of a, wait a sec. So let's get started here. It's a little bit confusing at first. So we're going to go for this little method here. And the space meta furnace does replicate the ore just like other machines do. The only problem we got here is it might be that our furnaces there are exactly pretty much consuming what these furnaces produce, but the real problem there is that our inserter technology is advanced. So it's a little bit weird. These dudes, they produce, as we see here, they take 5 iron ore and put out 6 iron ore. I have lately researched increased capacity bonus for inserters, which made the non-stack inserters have a higher capacity all of a sudden. What has happened due to that was that the inserters, let's go over here. I need to go there. The radar is not really installed here. I have no radar panels, but I don't care about them either. So what has happened on this side, where I tried to put these parallel to another without the loop, was that this dude, they were outputting 6, and this little dude here was grabbing 2, leaving only 4 in the cycle, and 4 are not enough to keep the replication process going. So, long story short, these dudes needed the stack size override to teach them to only grab 1 friggin' piece of iron per second. So the method to alleviate that was building a loop around that, but I want to try out if we're going to be able to do this without a loop. I just wanted to do all this to explain you the problematic, and I hope it is somehow understandable. So what we're going to do here now is probably and hopefully working. I don't know if it's going to work, but I want to try it out. So there we go. Probably. Well, do we need that coal for another thing? Yeah, we do. So I'm going to split this off. This is going to be the output. And yeah, hopefully this will work out in a way that this is going to be stable. So we're overriding the stack size. Shift right click to copy it. Shift left click to apply that setting to make sure the stack size override gets copied to all the inserters. And now let's just hope that this will work out in the end. Last time I tried to put up an array like that, it starved to death. We're going to try it this time in the long run. So, because what has happened to me was I saw these machines starving, and then I built the loop, and then I understood the actual problem was the inserter setting. So I didn't dare to try another one of these parallel setups, but I wanted to. Because this is by far the most compact design that I've found for the whole question of smelting, or the whole topic of smelting with Spaceblock. Because seriously, smelting with Spaceblock in a larger scale is a wee bit more complicated than I did like it. Oh no, stupid me. Give me a sec, guys. I'll have to fix this, of course. That's not working as intended. There we go. Alright, so now we've talked enough about Spaceblock smelting. It is way more complicated than I thought it would be. Honestly. And I like it. Okay, so enough of that. That's the iron plate. We're going to do the same now for the copper plate. And that's why we have the other array here going. So, here we go. Probably. I'm going to do this differently. Since these iron plates are entirely only necessary for the production of iron gear wheels, we might just compact this like that. Or wait a sec, can a fast inserter get the job done? Yes, he can. Simple reason for what I'm doing here is we can at the end bring the ingredients for the science packs just onto one belt, and that's something I'd really like. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Now, if this works out as intended, we're going to have a pretty compact and neat little design here going on. If not, we're going to have to work a little bit harder. So I just decided that the splitter here is completely not what I want to. We're rather going to split our coal on this segment here. And I somehow got the feeling as if my coal production is insufficient, honestly. Okay. So, let's slam in a couple of space matters. There's also a method in my madness that I use the blue inserters and the yellow inserters, because the blue inserters are faster than the yellow inserters and will always grab the iron first, or the ore, and make sure that the slower inserters will not get the first dips on the materials, ever. Spaceblock does a little bit of a... does produce some funny weirdnesses that I really do enjoy. Or, well... ah, no! What the... Sorry, Furnace. I didn't mean to. Now, oh yeah. There we go. Alright. So of course, at first we have the usual power production, coal input problems. So let's see. It's very hard to discern if the coal production is okay, but, well, probably it is. It should be. Anywho, that's all we'll need, according to our blueprint. Now, let's just transport that up there. And we've got our first mission completed. Alright. It's gonna be the first part of our science project. I mean, it ain't much. It's just a slow beginning of the things to come. But I am quite happy with what we did there. Hope the green signs will fit into this episode too, because these are just the basics that I usually get done in a really quick time. These are also the most easy and simple of the science packs. But it really does please me to see that I can just produce all my materials here on the fly. There's one thing that really dislike though, and that's the fact that I got the feeling as if I don't have enough coal production here, so I want to change that. Okay. I don't mind if I have a stupid overproduction. I do mind, though, if a single furnace here is constantly out of coal because we somehow not produce it quickly enough. Okay, whatever. So that's that. Next production block is going to be a little bit less friendly to us, but at the end, it is the same procedure as before. We just will do a much larger array for iron ore and copper ore, and that's that. But the principles are, again, the same. And I really do like how this plays out here in general. So probably we're going to use the room here and intertwine these things a bit. How about that? Let's see. I'll need 18 space meta furnaces. I don't believe those 17. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I counted correctly, it's only 17. Nah. Oh, so slightly. Okay. Alrighty. So probably we're not going to put it up there, sadly. We're going to need the entire height of another block there. But I really dislike this empty patch there, so we probably will manufacture the green signs over there. And also, I need to rescale these. I know that you can configure your Helmod to always use higher tier machines, but I don't know. I'm not vibing for that too much. I like to think whether or not to use a tier 2 machine or not, usually. So we're going to bring up a smelter array for the iron plates and the copper plates, and then we're just going to bring up a little factory for inserters and belts. That's that. But what I do realize there is that the rising complexity of items there might prove my little project of producing things on the spot a little bit, might make me a little bit inefficient with that strategy. Especially if I put up such small numbers. I'm not sure about that yet. But for now, I think we're going to do just fine. The only thing that I'm also sure about is that we're running out of time for today's episode, sadly. So I'm definitely not going to be capable of getting the job done in this episode, but we can at least start out with these smelters. So as we see here, they are not yet starving each other out. That's a good sign. We'll have to take care if that happens or not. If the smelter starvation sets in one more time, I'll have to do the loop procedure as you've seen there in my other smelters. I still want to avoid that loop if I can, because I feel like that loop does cost me a lot of resource, time, and room. Mostly room, and in an environment like Spaceblock, room is one of my most valuable resources in general. So I don't like that too much. Alrighty, friends, I'd say we're going to complete this build in the next episode, and then I'm also going to have my preparations down for the blue science pack array, because that's actually the most interesting, I know. But yeah, all these things have to be built as well. And I really enjoy that fact that we're now producing, I don't know how to call it, on a proper scale with proper methods. It's making me really happy. Anywho, friends, drop me your comments down below, leave me a thumbs up on that video, and if you haven't checked out my channel yet, there's daily content popping up there. Just hit the subscription button and turn the notification bell on if you want to make me and yourself happy. I'd be deeply delighted if you did so. Have a good time. See you next time.